Well, welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Kent Adams here today, and I've got an old friend from about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, that we're going to be talking about real estate and the real estate market, all that's going on. And perhaps if you've sold or bought something or thought about it, you know what's going on, and the prices are going up like crazy. And there's a good reason for that. And we'll talk about that right after this.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and the description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
Well, welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. It's a crazy Wednesday is what it is. And I've got an old friend. I say that because I haven't seen you for about 5 years, right?
It's been a long time.
It has been a long
Yeah.
time. Because what have you been doing? You've been working. You formed your own company,
Yep.
right? And Dave Reynolds, are you having fun though?
Having tons of fun.
Oh, good, good.
It's been a blast, opening the new company, getting everything started, getting it growing, expanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And when I say it's a little different, why is it a little different, Dave?
so we do everything for a 1% listing fee. So
Okay.
that's what I would charge a seller to represent them during
Okay.
their selling or listing transaction.
Okay.
And that includes all the bells and whistles, all the services, everything's included in that. There's
Okay,
no-
so you must be cheating on something to do it for that price, though, right?
No, we're not actually. I would take the apples to apples challenges with pretty much any agent in Spokane.
Okay.
There's no sacrifice in service. Simply put, you can look at it this way. We do a volume of transactions. So
Okay.
with all of our vendors and everything else, we just get discounts.
Yeah.
And we just pass those discounts along to the consumer.
Good for
So
you. I remember when you were starting this.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, and it was really the hand to mouth like we all do when we start a business and,
Yeah.
getting it going and so forth. Here you are, what now, 5, 6 years later?
Yeah, so actually, Source Real Estate has now been, next month will be 3 years.
Okay.
So I had a different one that was a startup and then had a business divorce.
Oh, yes, those do happen.
That sometimes happens. And then, basically stuck with the same business model as the
Right.
1% because I saw the success and continue to grow it. And now we're expanding. We're in Idaho. We got an office in Tacoma.
Oh.
I
Oh, so you're big time now.
don't know about that.
There's always the challenge when you start to grow that it really looks good, but then there are additional costs too, aren't there?
Well, and that's a lot of things that entrepreneurs
Yes.
understand, but the growth comes with additional costs.
Is
you
that why
gotta-
we don't sleep well at night sometimes?
What is sleep?
Oh, okay. I got to ask the question because we all know what's going on in our market now. We're one of the top cities to live in,
Yep.
and everything else. What's the market like out there? If you're primarily representing sellers,
Yeah,
they're in a pretty good position, aren't they? Until they have to buy something else.
they are,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of the challenges we've run into is sellers who are looking to move into something else,
Yes.
trying to find something else.
Yes.
I've actually had quite a few sellers that have decided that they're retiring. They're going to get a big RV or something that effect, and they're going to go tour for a few years, go see things, and then when they're done, they'll buy something else.
Yeah.
But that has been one of the probably most substantial challenges with a lot of the sellers is where they're wanting to go.
Well, the case of my wife and I'm mid-70s. She's close to that. We're in a 2-story house that we've lived in for 38 years. We're starting to feel the 2-story
Oh yeah,
stairs, and all of that. Probably a good time to sell, but maybe not a good time to buy because where do you find the condo that we might naturally grow into, or
Yeah.
it's tough to
Well,
make
and
that decision.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Kent. I mean, you're seeing a lot of people wanting to find single floor ranchers or something where all the utilities, all the amenities are on a single floor. So
Right.
You know,
When the relatives come, they can sleep in the upstairs bedroom.
right.
Yeah.
When the kids or grandkids come over, they can go over there. But yeah, so single floor is definitely in demand.
What do you see as with this approach, especially in the last 3 years, with your new business name and everything? What do you credit your success to? Other than market probably hasn't hurt, but
I would just say, you know, the agents that we have and the customer service that they provide. So you can look at it this way: instead of us spending advertising dollars to try and generate additional leads or, you know, customers or clients or anything like that,
you spend your time trying to catch up.
we make sure that our clients are fully taken care of and
Right.
that they're very, very in tune with what's going on. And by doing that and the cost savings, they see that, hey, they start referring all their friends and family to us. And that's really where a lot of the business comes from.
Yeah, that makes a difference, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Are almost all your listings getting bid above?
You know, they are. It is starting to slow down. We're starting to see a little bit of a transition in that. I think this morning I looked and it was 53 or 56 properties came back on the market in the Spokane area, you know, in the last week or so.
Oh, really?
And so, you know, I'm seeing a lot of that where some of the buyers are getting in there, and this is where construction materials and costs come into
Yes.
effect as well. As
Yeah.
they're seeing the inspection and they're seeing what they have to do
Yeah.
to repair some of these things and going, maybe I don't want to pay that much for it because then it's going
And
to
then
cost me
on top of that,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
But I'm seeing where the cost of lumber and so forth may be leveling out a little bit across the country.
that's what they're projecting is the
Yeah,
futures are saying it's supposed to come down, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So
I've had builders who have come in here and I've talked to them about, well, how are things going? I said, well, my profit basically is lost with $15,000 or $20,000 more
Yeah.
in just my lumber costs since I signed the contract with them 6 months ago.
oh yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make you want to build more and more either, you know.
Well, and that's a lot of the challenges too for
Yeah.
new construction. I was talking to one builder who I think they're doing a 240 unit apartment complex. I can't remember specifically where, but they'd gotten a quote for their lumber package was like $5 million. All right. And then they waited until the next week to order it and it went up to about 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a substantial impact for that particular builder, and they're going to have to pass those costs into somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's where you're seeing a lot of the increases in.
Well, between that and then
everything.
some of the regulations that are coming out, there's
Yeah.
one wanting to change that you can't put natural gas in.
Yep.
And I mean, and then all of the what I would call the environmental kinds of things that will add $15,000 to a home. So all of a sudden, your $250,000 home is now $350,000. Not to mention if it gets bid up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone told me a couple of weeks ago that they had a new client and they were saying, you know, one of the first questions, what do you think in the market you can afford to do, that you're authorized with the lender and all of that? Oh, about 350,000. Okay, that's fine. So we'll start by looking at $250,000 homes.
Right.
No, I said 350. No, you're going to have to bid up the 250,000 to the 350.
Well, and that is a lot of the challenges, and you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You know, the natural gas thing is a very hot topic,
Yeah.
especially with builders and the increase in cost. But you look at it with the average sale price for May from the Association of Realtors, I think it was 407
Yes.
something.
Did you expect to see it break 400?
That's challenging.
When only a few years ago it was under 200.
Right. And, you know, and the challenge is with that is, I mean, you're seeing 20 to almost 30% increases year over year in sales prices, but you're not seeing wages
No.
make that reflection. So, and that's a lot of the challenges. And I think the people in the, you know, especially in this, you know, the Spokane area,
Yeah.
they're feeling the impacts of that between.
Well, not to
rent
mention
and-
COVID and other things that have
Yeah.
come along too. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, you want to get legislation involved to try and help
Yeah.
you know, change some of these things and make it more affordable. And I think affordable housing is, you know, a big key for everybody.
Right.
You know, and it's just, I had one of my clients, and she was asking me, we were shopping, I think, the end of last year, and she was like, for $500,000, I thought I would be able to afford something a little bit nicer. When you're growing up and you
Yep,
see, $500,000, you think you're going to get a mansion or something, and then
yes.
due to, increase in prices and inflation
You're
and
gonna live
everything
in a
else,
row
you
house
go,
like everybody else.
man, this is not what I was expecting to get. But and that's a lot of the challenge that the buyers are really facing. And it's difficult out there, and we're seeing a lot of people, that are coming in from out of the area.
That's where I was going to go next.
Yep.
Are you seeing a lot?
We are,
And those usually come with, because they're selling in bigger markets, the LAs, the Portlands, the Seattles, and honestly, who doesn't want to get out of some of those places, okay, and come to Spokane. And with the after effects of the pandemic, where a lot of folks can work from home,
well, and that, you're absolutely right. And so the answer is what I'm seeing is large down payments.
Okay.
If you're buying a $500,000 or $600,000 property, I'm seeing down payments that are $150,000 to $250,000, $300,000 down, assuming they're not cash.
Right.
Completely.
Yeah, I was going to say, and there's that too.
Yeah. So, and that's where the difficulty is, people have the conversation and say, well, how are they affording based on Spokane wages and everything else? And the answer is they're going, they're putting half down. So they're not financing the entire portion, and that's causing a big effect. And you're seeing that.
Okay. Put your Claravante or whatever it is.
Rub my crystal ball.
Crystal ball. Yeah. Where are we going in the next 6 months and the next 2 years?
Well, all the, COVID, as we're getting out of this pandemic and, as it starts to, all the restrictions starts to subside, I think that's where you're going to start to see things level off more.
Okay.
Personally, I don't think we're not going to do a 2008 nosedive, anything to that effect.
Right.
I would project
But we're not going to see the 29% increase every year.
No. The projections that I've seen, we're looking at probably maybe a 3 to 5% correction downwards.
Okay.
And then it'll start kind of leveling out more of a neutral market.
How soon? In the next 6 months to 12 months, you think?
The projections I'm seeing are, 12 to 18, 24 to 36 months.
So not next week.
Not next week.
Okay.
Assuming my crystal ball is actually working.
And those that you look over their shoulder and
yeah. And a lot of it, and it's not just Spokane. I mean, it's the entire United States. I talk to agents all over the country, and then I talk to agents in Canada. Same thing up there.
Yes.
I have a business partner that he's got a bunch of properties in the Philippines, and he said it's the exact same there. He said prices are just going through the roof. There's nothing available, and I think everybody's seeing just the global supply chain network.
Right.
And that's where I think you're just feeling the effects worldwide.
Wow.
Wow. But, and you just mentioned it a second ago, is the telecommuting. That's probably one of the biggest things to come out of this, is you had a lot of businesses that were given the opportunity who may have wanted to try telecommuting. They were able to actually take that step and see if it was functional or not. And likely not lose any clients or customers over it, because they could blame it on the transition with COVID.
Right.
Whereas before COVID, they may have not wanted to take that risk, because then it would have just been their employees and their business.
I'm hearing it has caused a lot of increase in Spokane. We see it going on in Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls area. We see it going on now. I think Bozeman is the place. I mean, it keeps going on this northern tier up here, keeps going east a bit. And people can live where it's kind of fun, outdoors. If they like outdoors and all of that, they can live in God's country instead of driving for an hour and a half each way in Seattle or Portland, or waiting for whatever is going to happen at night in Portland and so forth. And if they can do that and maybe go to work for a day or two a month, but the rest of the time live where they want, they're doing it.
Well, and it's
still making the salary that they make in Seattle.
That's going to be something that'll be interesting.
Yes, so, I think we're going to see some leveling off, don't you?
Yeah, I know some businesses, some employers have said, yeah, we're going to pay you a wage based on the location you're going to be actually living at, but I don't know who all's that's going to affect or not affect. But you know, so I was in a conference in 2018, so pre-COVID, in downtown Spokane, and we had a bunch of real estate, you know, company owners, a bunch of mortgage leaders in the mortgage industry, leaders in you know, city council, planning departments throughout Liberty Lake, Cheney, all that. There's probably 300 or so people in there. And there was an economist, I can't remember his exact position, but he had something to do with like the White House, basically. He was basically a government economist to that effect. But he said what they were seeing nationwide was, even at that time, that the housing prices on both coastal regions of the United States were becoming so expensive. That's why you were already seeing people kind of bump in, selling their properties in Seattle, Portland, moving to Spokane, Boise, Reno, all that stuff. On both sides, they were already seeing that. Then you throw in the ability to telecommute. Yeah. And so
it's a no-brainer for a lot of people. It really is.
Well, and one of the things that's frustrating to a lot of people that I talk to in Spokane, especially, is the infrastructure, the roads. And I don't know the exact number. I've been told it's between 8 and 9% of the, you know, the residents of Spokane are actually telecommuting.
Yeah.
And so the concern that a lot of people have is, well, when it's reported to the Department of Labor and everything and taxes are taken out, well, if your company is based out of Seattle, are your tax dollars staying in Seattle because you live in Spokane and use the infrastructure here, or are they being transferred over to the resident area?
There's going to be a lot of discussion on all that, isn't there?
There is, because I mean, we're feeling the effects here already. You know, I mean, traffic has increased exponentially in the last few years.
Well, in the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Really, the last 2 months.
Yeah. Well, you're starting to see people that they're done with COVID, and they're getting out. And they're going, we locked up for a year. So
I won't kill you yet, you know. We're tired of it. We're tired of it.
No, and I think a lot of that, I mean, you're just having those effects with all the real estate and the rental rates, and I mean, it's supply and demand. I mean, plain and simple.
Hey, if people want to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
You can go to sourcerealestate.com. Or you can call 509-999-8878.
Okay.
So
that's your cell number, isn't it?
It is not my cell number.
Somebody else's.
That is the office phone number.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Sounds like a cell number.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we all live off our cell phones these days. Everything gets transferred to or from and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, my cell number is 509-981-7853. I mean, you can find that online and everything else. So.
Okay. One last question.
Sure.
Are you having fun? Did you make the right decision?
Of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Good.
It's been great. You know, I love, you know, working with people, helping them. And especially I love helping my agents grow their business.
How many agents do you have?
I think we're at 16 right now.
Wow.
Or so.
Okay.
Just brought on a new one last week. Got another one coming on this week. So we're starting to get a lot of people that are seeing, you know, the 1% model and seeing the success rate with it. And they're going, hey.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you were starting out. And
brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Yeah. I hope this works, Kent, next week, right?
We're rolling the dice. I don't know.
But it's so good to see success.
Yeah.
And good to see you again, too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. Thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ken.
And thank you for watching The Pulse of Spokane. Take care, everybody.
The world has changed a lot in 50 years, and Kimley Haygood has changed with it. We still provide our customers with the highest level of service, whether it's financing, construction management, property management and maintenance, leasing, or sales. Our team is here to help you make the best decisions with your real estate.
had no idea how to be an adult, let alone a mom. I grew up in over 20 foster homes, so I partied to escape. I wanted to change, but I had no idea what to do. UGM showed me that healing begins with the heart, with understanding how much we are loved by a good God. My kids and I started over with a whole new foundation. Real people, real change. Union Gospel Mission.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.